Hey everybody, welcome to Crazy Tech Lab, and we have a suitably crazy product in the lab today, which is this thing down here, not the lovely gaming laptop on top, but the thing that's underneath it, which is the llano RGB laptop cooling pad. Now, if you've ever owned a gaming laptop or even just one that's relatively powerful, you might have noticed that the temperatures on those things get extremely high. They get very toasty, they get very hot, and a lot of them will end up thermally throttling because of that, which can only mean higher noise and reduced performance. So in an effort to beat those thermals and beat the heat, as it were, this cooling pad is designed to keep your laptop a lot cooler than it would otherwise be by shoving a load of nice cool air at the bottom vents so it can be cooled more effectively. So what we're going to be doing today is putting it through its paces, cooling this laptop and seeing what a difference it makes, and seeing the other features of this laptop cooling pad as well, because we've got a dock down here with a few USB ports. So you can just run a single Type-C cable up over to your laptop, and then you've got a whole bunch of other ports down here. So you could have a mouse and keyboard and something else as well, maybe a headset, permanently set up on your PC desk, leave the dock there and take the laptop with you, for example. So that's a really cool feature. Another cool feature I love is the RGB lighting, which can be customized as well. And down here, we have a whole load of other things. We've got a fan control here. You might be able to hear that. So if you really want to get it really ramps up. I don't think you'd need that. I've got it set on the minimum setting, which I think is about 300 RPM, but that's pretty interesting. And there's a whole load of adjustment here as well for angling your laptop depending on how you want to use it. So what we're going to be doing today is putting this thing through its paces, see how much better or how much cooler our laptop runs with the fan at different settings, and seeing what the other features are and coming to some conclusions at the end. Thanks to Llano for sending over this fantastic laptop accessory, and if you want to check it out, you can see the link to it in my description down below, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff in my Amazon shop. And yeah, just thanks to those guys for sending this over. I love looking at stuff like this because I'm a heavy, very heavy laptop user, and I'm always looking at ways of making my life a little bit easier and a little bit cooler and quieter as well. So let's crack on. Okay, so here we are with the llano laptop cooler, and we're just going to run through all of the features now before we move on to the performance. So if you want to set it up and you're not sure how, I mean, it's relatively simple, but they do include a pretty decent instruction manual, so there's always that as a backup. And also in the box you get two other things. There is a dust filter, which is a second dust filter, allowing you to swap out the one that's in there to give that a clean, but you don't have any downtime because you can just whack in this new one and continue gaming. So that's a nice touch. We'll look at how to install that in just a moment. And then here we have a USB cable for the built-in USB hub here. So you connect the Type A cable to your laptop and then the Type-C cable to the side of the laptop cooler, and that just expands out to 3 Type A ports on the side here. So it means that you can have a mouse, keyboard and maybe a headset permanently on your desk, and then when you come back with your gaming laptop you can just place it on here, connect one Type-C cable or Type A cable to it, sorry, and that's all you need to do. So there's no fiddling around with various USB cables. Now the first thing you need to do is to install this thing here. So it is orientated in one particular way, so you need to have the thicker bar down here and the thinner bar up there, and this just serves to provide a seal between your laptop and the cooler, which obviously wouldn't happen normally because your laptop has probably got its own feet and all that kind of stuff underneath. So as we have here, it just provides a nice seal all the way around, so just maximizes the airflow from the fan. You also get 2 little flanges down here that are just designed to support your laptop, so they don't really have any other function for other than that. So they just prevent your laptop kind of sliding around, but the seal, to be honest, does a pretty good job of doing that anyway. Now if we just remove all of those bits for a moment, we're going to have a look at the underside, and here we have some feet that basically double throw, and they can raise the height of the thing, which is always important for ergonomics and just making sure that your laptop is raised up properly so it meets your eyes. And you can see here there's a decent amount of height gained from doing the double throw, but you can reduce it a little bit or just completely close them off totally. And then we do have the benefit of the rubber grips that you don't unfortunately get in the other modes, but you do have the much larger ones at the front here, so I doubt you'll have too much of a problem with this thing sliding around, not least of all because when your laptop's on it, it'll be pretty heavy as well. So the next thing we'll have a look at is how to change the filter underneath here. So it's a pretty good design, very, very easy to use. It feels very well made. So that's just a guard, just to stop you putting your fingers in. Obviously, I've got it turned off at the moment. I wouldn't recommend doing this with the unit on. In fact, I would always just yank out the power cable because it's also very easy to turn it on by pressing the touch buttons up here. So I would definitely remove the power cable and only then remove the guard and get at the dust filter. So to swap it out, if it gets a little bit dusty or something, I wouldn't imagine dust is going to be that much of a problem because it's going to be on your desk rather than on the floor. But if you do need to swap it out, then this is how you do it. So I just wanted a quick look at the coaxial fan in there. So it basically spins round like that and expels air out the sides rather than doing a normal fan thing of doing it at right angles to the actual fan blade. So this thing actually draws it in that way and then just blows it out the sides, and then it creates a big load of high pressure inside the top unit that we're going to look at now. So this is where the area of high pressure is made, and obviously no way that you can stick your fingers into the fan. That's just not going to happen. The fan is right in the center here, so even if you stick your finger right in, nothing's probably going to happen, but I wouldn't recommend you do that. So this whole area basically creates an area of high pressure, and that forces the nice cool air into your laptop, which sits on top. And the one thing you do want to make sure is that all of the vents on the underside of your laptop are designed for intaking. So it's pretty easy to tell because if you're in a gaming session, you'll probably find that there's a large vent on the side like this one has here, and there's a lot of hot air comes out there because it draws the cool air in here and expels it out here, which is going to work hopefully really, really well with the llano laptop cooler. So if we just flip things around, I'll just show you what all the controls are. So we have the power on button there. Press that for 2 seconds and it powers the unit on, and do the same again and it powers it off. This switch here, it switches between light modes. You can also turn the lighting off if you hold it down again. So switching modes, you might want a fixed color, you might want rainbow effects, or you might just want the RGB lighting off completely. And this switch over here, if you do have a fixed color in place, then this will change the color of that design as well. Now, the last thing we need to look at on the actual unit is this control dial here. So this controls the fan speed, and the fan speed can be altered between 300 and 2800 RPM. So 300 is probably where you'll want it most of the time. I think anything above 1000 RPM generally creates quite a bit of noise as well. But you get really, really good cooling and airflow even at sort of 600 or 700 RPM. So it's going to depend on your own particular laptop. I'll put links to some programs that you can use to monitor temperatures when you're actually using this thing, so you can compare different fan speeds down using the software down below as well. So definitely check out those links down in the description for those to just see if you want to do your own bit of testing and that kind of stuff. So that is pretty much it for the llano laptop cooler. So what I'm going to do now is fire up the RGB lighting so we can have a little bit more of a look at that and the different color modes. And while I'm there, what we can do is also look at the side USB hub. So what I'm going to do is plug in the adapter, and as you can see, we've got a nice green light down there showing that we've got power. So the Type-C port is what goes up to your laptop, and then that runs out to 3 Type-A ports down here. Now, I believe these look like they are USB 2, so you're not going to get crazy speeds from these. They're just designed to run headsets, mice and peripherals and that kind of stuff, so you can leave those on your desk. But when you bring your laptop back, you just have to connect this cable up to your laptop, and then all 3 of these are automatically connected to your laptop. So we're just going to quickly power it on and see what the lighting looks like. So hold the power button down for 2 seconds, and then we have all the lighting firing up. So at the moment we've just got like a color cycling mode going on, and it goes all the way around. And I particularly like the rear of this. It's got like a honeycomb design. There's not a vent there, it's just kind of solid, but it kind of looks cool, doesn't it? I think that looks pretty cool for a laptop cooler. So we'll have a quick look at the fan speeds now. So this is the minimum speed, and I'm just going to shut up for a minute so you can actually hear it. So you might be able to hear that, but of course that's without the laptop in place. So what I'm going to do is go and grab the seal, which has managed to find its way over the back there, and we're just going to place that in its spot on the top here. So we have our laptop and we're going to place that on the seal. And as you can see, if I just shut up again, that's actually blocked off quite a bit of the noise. So 300 RPM, I mean, this is perfectly usable for, you know, day-to-day work or Netflix or those kind of things. Obviously, you might want to turn it off if you want complete silence. But if we ramp it up to maybe double speed, so 600 RPM, so that's now becoming more noticeable. And if we have a look in here, the airflow has really, really ramped up in there. So I'd imagine that you wouldn't necessarily need much more than that to be able to effectively cool a laptop. But we're going to test the various fan speed settings later to see where the sweet spot is. Obviously, it might be different with your laptop. If you've got a really, really, really powerful one, then you might see more benefit from the higher fan speeds. So we're going to whack it up to 1000 RPM. So definitely noticeable now. Hopefully it is on the video as well. Before going up to 2000 RPM, which is insane. And we actually have another 800 RPM to go, would you believe it or not? But amazingly, there's actually very little air coming out the sides here. I can feel a little bit here, but most of it is being directed into the laptop. I can actually feel some air coming out the side of the vent in the laptop as well, which is crazy. So let's bring it back down. So yeah, for me, I think the sweet spot for gaming is probably between about 500 and 1000 RPM, depending on your sensitivity to noise. Any more than that, and it does start to get pretty loud. But anyway, let's crack on with the performance testing. So starting off with the temperatures, and we're going to be looking at the average and maximum GPU temperature inside the laptop, which is an NVIDIA RTX 1650. And we are going to look at the top graph first, so the average GPU temperature. So that's the average temperature throughout the 15-minute test in a game benchmark. And we can see that the laptop managed to get the GPU down to 60 degrees before falling to 54 degrees, so a 6-degree drop just by putting it onto the Llano laptop cooler at its lowest fan speed. But the biggest drop was all the way down to 47, so a significant 7-degree C drop from 300 RPM moving up to 600 RPM. So I think that the 300 to 600 RPM range is probably the sweet spot in terms of noise and performance and the amount of cooling that you're actually going to get, or the temperature drop. But a lot here will depend on your particular laptop, how well ventilated it is, and also the cooling system. Mine's kind of a mid-range laptop, so if you've got a more high-end model with lots of fans and vents in the underside, you'll probably benefit even more than this. So even so, we ramped the fan all the way up to maximum speed, which was pretty loud, but we saw the temperature drop further down to 42 degrees. So we've dropped the temperature nearly 20 degrees using the laptop cooler. So the maximum GPU temperature was even more impressive because that spiked at 69 degrees C. So you're probably going to see some throttling at those kind of temperatures. The GPU, the laptop will rein in the GPU to maintain temperatures and power and all that kind of stuff. So you might see a performance drop off, which we'll look at in a minute. So dropping the laptop onto the Llano cooler, and at the minimum fan RPM, we saw a drop of 8 degrees C. So much more significant this time. And then saw another significant drop to 600 RPM, that all the way down to 56, and then all the way down to 1000 RPM, raising the fan speed up, again dropped to 53 degrees C, and then the maximum fan speed saw a massive drop again, all the way down to 47 degrees C for the maximum GPU temperature. So some very, very significant results here. Moving on to the performance increase now then, and in the top graph we've got the average frame rate in the game that we used, which was Metro Exodus, and running a loop of 5 tests to get the thermals, we also got the average frame rate at the end of that. So starting off with the laptop at the bottom, 30 FPS, that rose to 32 FPS with 300 RPM on the Llano cooler, and then finally rising up to 33 FPS at 600 RPM, and we didn't see any further increases because by that point the laptop is it's running as fast as it can go within its power limits, and it's happy that it's running a lot cooler. Moving on to the bottom graph now then, and I've done the percentage increase because the difference between 30 frames per second and 33 frames per second doesn't sound that much, but actually it equates to 10%. So if you're gaming at 60 frames per second, that could boost the average frame rate up to 66, which is quite significant. So what we have here is the percentage increase at every RPM. So obviously the laptop itself gets a percentage increase of 0 because it's basically itself. So anything above that is a bonus. So even at 300 RPM, its lowest fan speed, you still see nearly 7% more performance in games compared to just running the laptop. And of course, the maximum increase we saw was 10%, which starts, or at least in my testing, at 600 RPM. But again, the sweet spot is probably between 300 and 600 RPM. You might find that you get a similar boost between there as well. So 10% increase in games is nothing to be sniffed at. So what do we make of the llano laptop cooler then? Well, probably the thing I love about it most is that it translates into a real world performance benefit and much better cooling for your laptop. Significantly better even on my comparatively mid-range laptop here. So if you've got a high-end laptop with big cooling inside, this could really benefit it. And it doesn't just improve the temperatures, it actually equates to a real world performance benefit as well. I saw 10% uplift in performance, and that's not even getting up to the maximum fan speed. Even at just 600 RPM, just a couple of hundred RPM above its lowest fan speed, I saw a significant uplift in games of up to 10%. So it looks great, it's fairly affordable as well. You can check it out in the description down below as well. So it's a great addition to your PC desk, and even better is that it comes with a USB hub as well, so you can leave your mouse, keyboard and headset and a few other devices connected to it permanently, take your laptop away, and when you come back you just have to plug in a single cable. Coupled with the snazzy RGB lighting, and I think this is a must-have for anybody that uses a gaming laptop on a regular basis. And it's portable as well because it's not that heavy. So I'd like to thank llano for sending over the laptop cooler, and we'll be back very soon with some more videos. Don't forget to check out all the links, including where you can buy this from, in the description down below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be back very soon. See ya.